Hey folks, how's it going? This is Iron Seagull here, back with another Sims 4 info/thoughts video. So the past day or so has been really crazy. I've barely slept, and there's still more stuff to talk about. So toddlers were dropped in a free game update, and it was at the surprise of pretty much everyone. And I won't talk about that too much here because I've already done a reaction video and a gameplay overview, so you can watch those videos. I'll link them in the video description below if you want to know more about my opinions on toddlers in The Sims 4. But it turns out there was some hidden stuff in that update. Once again, we've got another code leak on our hands, and oh boy, I am excited about this one because this is relating to a possible Pets expansion in the near future. And thanks once again to Sims community for finding all this stuff. In this first part here, we're looking at an XML file that shows coding for relationships in the game. You can see things like cat owned, cat owner, dog owned, dog owner, and also a link to species to roommate. And I think what this means is that we may be able to actually designate a certain sim in our household as the owner of the cat or dog. And then for sims who aren't the owner of that pet, then they're just considered the roommate. I'm really hoping that this is the case because that actually would add a lot of realism, because even if a pet is shared amongst the household, there's usually that one person that is considered the owner of that pet that the pet is closest to, so it'd be really nice to replicate that in The Sims 4. Also, they have added a species option to interactions, traits, and sim filters, which definitely makes sense if they're going to add pets into the game. Next, we have a look at references to animations for certain animals, including jump on object, which I think refers to how cats were able to jump on top of things like couches and tables in previous games. And not only do we have references to cats and dogs, but horses as well. There's even things like jump distance and jump height that could be related to the jumping skill returning. There's also stuff that differentiates small dogs from large dogs, but with the sit next to posture, it refers to those but not horses for some reason. And things start to not look as good when we're going into the next screenshot here, because there doesn't appear to be any references to horses outside of the two state machine files mentioned in the previous screenshot. There is some other stuff relating to cats and dogs, suggesting that pets can be picked up by Sims similar to toddlers, but nothing too amazing. I do find that bit of information interesting. It's just like, it seems that some of the stuff with toddlers and pets might have been developed at the same time, so it does give me hope that toddlers will have more interactions with cats and dogs than in the previous games. I have a couple of theories as to what's really going on with this horses situation, but there's one more screenshot to go through, which basically just shows that there are like tags showing that there's like number 1 for Sims, 2 for dogs, and 3 for cats, and then small dog is designated as 4. But horses are again missing from this part of the code. Alright, so what's going on with horses? Why are they only partially in the code compared to the cats and dogs? Well, it does seem a little disappointing on the surface, this strong possibility of horses not being included in the next expansion pack. But I think what's going on is initially they were planning to have cats, dogs, and horses all in one expansion pack, but then ended up realizing that if they were going to make cats, dogs, and horses all the best iterations that have ever been in the Sims series, they needed to separate horses into a later pack. Think along the lines of how they've approached vampires for The Sims 4. If they had been included in Get Together or City Living, the vampires, they probably wouldn't have been nearly as developed as they appear to be with this game pack. I think horses would actually fit really well into a farming game pack or expansion pack, so I don't think they're just going to throw horses into a game pack or something like that and just say, Sims 4 horses, here you go, $20. No, I think they'll actually make it worth it. I don't think it's going to actually be as bad as it first sounds. And since then, that would free up time to make the dogs and cats more interesting than before. Maybe they could add more gameplay objects for each, for example. Like say maybe the whole if I fits, I sits thing could apply to cats, where they try to sit on a lot of things, including boxes. And maybe with dogs, for example, if they keep the ability for them to swim in pools, if their owner is in the pool with them, they could like hug them while the dog is still like doggy paddling or something. I think that would be really cute. I mean, those are fairly small things, but I'm sure there's some really interesting stuff that they've thought of, like some different skills that they didn't have in the previous games, maybe some more interesting things that you can do while you're controlling the cats and dogs, assuming that they're keeping that feature. Before we move on to my other theory, I do want to address one question on horses that people have already asked me about on Twitter. How well would horses work in The Sims 4, since it doesn't have the same open worlds that Sims 3 has? And my answer to that is, I think they could actually still pull it off fairly well. Because with the more recent worlds, I think they do have a more open world feel than what we got with the base game, especially with Windenburg. All the neighborhoods in that world, I just feel, are very big and wide open. They just really feel like the closest thing to an open world so far. And if they make a new world to go along with horses that has neighborhoods at least as big as those neighborhoods in Windenburg, then I think that would actually be pretty great. It's kind of funny actually, because a few days ago I was playing in the countryside neighborhood of Windenburg, and I had my sim walk from the starter house in that neighborhood that's empty by default down to the fishing spot. That doesn't look too far from there, but actually does take a decent amount of time to walk there. And I was thinking, wow, like this is one place in The Sims 4 where having a car or a bike would be beneficial so that my sim could get there faster. And hey, maybe that could be addressed by including horses in the game. Maybe Ian can use a horse to gallop to those fishing spots. Because the truth likely is, with cars, they'll have to make them teleport because they'll need to address the fact that some of the neighborhoods in The Sims 4 don't really have any roads connected to the houses. So they could theoretically maybe get around that with horses, because horses will be more like Sims. They can just go anywhere, so just have Sims ride around on horseback, Legend of Zelda style. My other theory is that, well, we're worrying about nothing, because, I don't know, just like, especially in light of how they surprised us with toddlers, I think they could still surprise us with horses and still end up including them in the Pets expansion pack anyways, and still do the horses justice. Just be like, yep, we totally fooled you guys, horses are in the game. Because here's the thing, this is a little bit of a continuation off of a subject I talked about in one of the vampire leaks info/thoughts videos that I did, where I talked about the whole subject of leaks and ruining surprises and things like that, and whether the leaks are actually intentional or not. And especially after this Toddlers Update 2, I'm thinking more and more that these leaks actually are intentional. I remember someone on Twitter told me that maybe they're doing it like how some singers do, where they leak things on purpose to build interest, and then there's things that they keep very closely to themselves so that they can still surprise everybody with some things. I do find it very strange that Toddlers did not have any recent leaks in the code before they were officially announced, yet vampires and pets are getting leaked. Like, this doesn't seem right to me. I don't think these are genuine accidents. I think this is actually meant to just get us excited without officially announcing anything. At this point, it's just happened too many times for EA to not know at all that this is going on. I even just remember dating back to The Sims 2 Open for Business, there were hooks in the code found for pets, and then sure enough, pets ended up being the next expansion pack, so this is far from the first time. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens, and I don't think that wait will be too long, because, for example, with Vampires, they were leaked last month, and the Vampires game pack is being released this month, So I think it's a very real possibility that a Pets expansion pack will be coming out in the next quarter. And we may hear that in March, because in the case of City Living, we got the official announcement in September, but then we only got the actual release in the next quarter technically, because it came out in November. One more possibility is that this will unfold almost exactly the same as Vampires, where we'll only have to wait about a month. And, well, next month is February, and that's when The Sims is celebrating its 17th anniversary. And, I mean, they totally could have saved toddlers for next month. That would have made a lot of sense. Because, I mean, it doesn't get much bigger than toddlers to celebrate the history of The Sims, right? But, no, we got toddlers this month before Vampires Game Pack, a little bit random. So, it's like, what are they gonna do for the anniversary? How are they gonna do anything that comes even close to that? Well, why not announce a fan favorite expansion pack? I think we will get an interesting game update in February that'll include some fan favorite features from past games. That's actually what they did last year, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did that again, and quite frankly, I wouldn't mind, because there are still so many things that I want to see back from previous Sims games, and I know a lot of you want to see a lot of things that you liked from previous games too that still aren't in the game yet. But announcing the next expansion pack would also be just a really nice thing to accompany the whole thing. And it also wouldn't be the first time that a Sims 4 expansion pack has been announced on the anniversary date, February 4th, because that's when Get to Work was announced. I also do want to bring up this official pet survey that went around almost a year ago now, and I had a feeling at the time that, yeah, the next expansion pack might have been a little bit too far in development for expansion pack 3 to be Pets, and sure enough, it was City Living. But now that almost a year has passed, yeah, I think that actually increases the likelihood even more that Pets is coming in the near future. In addition to all the leaks related to Pets, there's even more leaked stuff about vampires as well. There's quite a bit of interesting stuff here. It basically confirms death by sunlight, studying vampire lore, confirming that vampires are safe from the sun while indoors, finding plasma fruit out in the world of Forgotten Hollow, and that other Sims apparently aren't big fans of the shorter days in Forgotten Hollow. And in regards to powers, vampires can gain experience, rank up, and gain weaknesses as they rank up. And vampires need to be in their dark form in order to drink from Sims, and turning into a vampire can mean enduring multiple days of unusual ailments. That sounds really intriguing. This next part here talks about how you need to balance out weaknesses and powers, and vampire bats can woohoo and try for baby? Okay, can we talk about this for a minute? How did the Sim Gurus come up with that idea? Do I want to know? I don't know, that sounds really, really weird. But maybe it's interesting, I don't know, we'll just have to see how it actually looks in the game, but my goodness, where did they get these ideas? And apparently pregnancies caused by the bats have some sort of special thing, and I honestly have no idea as to what that could be. It also turns out that the organ isn't the only skill, as there is a vampire lore skill. It has the full 10 levels, but apparently increases very fast. I'm really interested in finding out how that skill benefits the game. With the aspirations, the new category is actually specific to vampires, not generally for cults like I was hoping for. A total of 3 new law traits are confirmed. There's Vampire Nexus, which is the one that attracts vampires to your lot more often. There's Registered Vampire Lair, and that's where the League will send various gifts from time to time to your home through the mail. And there is also On a Dark Ley Line, which makes it so that babies conceived on those lots require extra care while teething. So all in all, this is really interesting information. It just makes me even more excited to play this Vampires game pack. I just feel even more sure now that the vampires getting their own game pack is worth it. And that wraps up another Sims 4 info/thoughts video. So, wow, this week has been crazy, hasn't it? It's just like, wow, my mind was blown. There was even at one point where I couldn't even tweet proper spelling because I was so excited, especially with just like finding out that toddlers were in the game and then pets being leaked that same day. Just, wow. Like, the gurus definitely mean it when they say this year is going to be amazing for The Sims 4, and this is still just the beginning. Like, wow. Wow. I don't know what else to say other than leave your comments below on your opinions about all of this new information. In my opinion, this is just all so exciting. But I will talk to you later, guys, and have a great day. Thanks for watching.